And really challenging then too, right? If you're trying to evacuate and there's active storms and lightning ongoing, and we know that latest round has been moving through here. I mean, this has been going on for hours and hours, unfortunately, in Birmingham, starting out with that flash flood situation and then elevating into that flash flood emergency. So areas are flooding now that don't normally flood, right? There's always parts of Birmingham we know flood every time you get a super heavy rainfall, right? So areas that don't normally flood are flooding right now, and that's one of the things that makes it so dangerous. Plus, we're getting on nightfall. We're getting close to that as well. So when things get dark out, that adds a whole new level to danger, because you can't see how high the water is. You don't know how far out it extends. Sad stuff, scary stuff going on tonight in Birmingham.
And kind of today's events. Yesterday's events set the stage for today's events, really, because we had such intense storms yesterday as well that really made the ground saturated. So any of the rain that was going to fall today was never going to be absorbed by the ground, right? It was all just going to sit up on top, and it was going to run off, and this is the result of that. Tough stuff for us tonight, for sure. All right, so let's talk more about what's happening for us here in the Southeast, because for many of us, the threat's going to continue for the next several hours. We hope that images like that don't continue tonight, but it's a possibility. We do have tornado watch out. The good news is being trimmed back a little bit. Did include a good chunk of the central Alabama, then back into eastern Mississippi, but that's being pared back, and now the tornado risk is just in this smaller red area, but does include Pensacola, Mobile, back toward coastal Mississippi, although we don't have any tornado warnings right now, and that's good news. I think the threat for tornadoes might be coming down some. As you take a look at the thunderstorm watch, it's been extended down until 1 o'clock into Dothan, Panama City, Tallahassee, all the way up toward Macon. Atlanta is not included in that. Atlanta is going to be a little bit too far north, but right along the I-20 corridor, where we had really heavy rain yesterday, and we've had it again today, large metros like Birmingham and Atlanta, flash flood warnings in those locations. I want to get you to these severe thunderstorm warnings right along the Mississippi and Alabama state line. This is a really intense line right here, and it's starting to bow out a little bit, which to me would indicate that the winds might be accelerating some here. Chambers and Lee counties in Alabama are under severe thunderstorm warnings right now, and right in there is a really intense cluster of wind. You might be getting some downdraft coming out of that storm, but Lafayette, I'd say heads up. That's coming towards you. Waverly, the strong winds have already come through in Auburn, getting hit now. Langdale is next in line to be hit by that, and I-85 is a highway. They'll have very intense winds. We would certainly encourage you to be off of the roads when those storms come in. So you've got maybe another half hour or so. I'm going to move this tracker over just a little bit more to give you some more precise timing. Opelika around 7:12, so 5 minutes from now. And Hughley here around 7:21, Langdale around 7:25 this evening. That gives you some indication of when the storms will be there, so you know when you need to be taking a shelter or being inside. All right, so storms are now weakening here. Montgomery moving past you. Bullock, Macon, and Pike counties, though, are under severe thunderstorm warnings. The same thing, really intense winds. And when we talked to Charles Peak, our storm tracker, just a little bit ago, he was showing us the images of the home where the roof had been peeled off. He said a lot of the trees had been snapped, and that he thought, just because of the debris, how it was laid down, there would be straight line winds. There could be, though, brief tornado spin-ups within these lines, but now we're talking, even if you're not getting a tornado, you could be getting tornado-like damage because of the severity of just the straight line winds themselves. Farther south on that line, Butler, Covington, Crenshaw counties are under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Coming through McKenzie, I-65, just blinding rain for us at this point. Look at the reports that we've had. Danley Field, 58-mile-per-hour winds measured here. In Breccius, power out, trees down, fence blocking, fence blown over. And in Camden, large trees that are down here, part of a roof that's been blown off of a shed here. So a lot of different reports of various damage because of these storms. Then extending back here into Louisiana as well. New Orleans, have we lucked out? Maybe we have. Look at how those storms just weaken right over Lake Pontchartrain, but still Slidell, Biloxi, Gulfport, Pascagoula, those are all locations where the storms are converging on you. And if you're in Mobile and you just take a quick look out your back door and you look north and west, boy, the skies look dangerous right now, don't they? Be ready to be inside here. Those storms will be there probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, and a flash flood watch in effect in that area as well. So let's time out what we can expect going forward and give you an update also on the power outages. These have gone up really significantly. Even in the last half an hour, we've gone up by about 25,000 people. So we're now up over 400,000 without power. The state that has the most outages is Mississippi at 134,000, 103,000 in Alabama. And look at Virginia, where we've had severe storms there too, up over 65,000 who are going to be in the dark here for tonight. So hopefully they can work and get that restored. Very difficult to do when more storms are coming in. Here's going to be the main line that we'll have to track now going forward. There will still be some clustering and some individual storms out ahead of this, but this will really be the main show, so to speak, as we move forward through tonight. And we'll likely continue to see some severe weather along that MCS or that complex of thunderstorms, and wind damage is going to end up ultimately being the most likely threat, in addition to some of that flash flooding. Really got to watch the southern tier of this as this flattens out, and then we get another round here as we head towards the Gulf Coast into the overnight hours, because flash flooding is going to be a good possibility in some of these areas, especially the low-lying areas after round of thunderstorms. But look at how much better Atlanta looks. Look at how much better Birmingham looks. Montgomery looking great into your Wednesday. So drying things out and clearing things out. But we're going to have to keep an eye on Florida, not just your Wednesday, but the next couple of days for that severe weather threat. So a closer look at the Atlanta metro area. One more push of the heavy rain and thunderstorms as that line moves on through. Likely by midnight tonight or so, you're going to see all that action move off towards your east. Spotty showers could linger into the early overnight. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, everything's going to be drying out, but it's almost going to be a boots kind of day, because if you're walking the grass, you know how muddy that's going to be, right? Nashville, moving forward through tonight, looking for a couple of more rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Timing for this kind of similar in a way to Atlanta, that by midnight or so, a lot of that should continue to push out of the area with a few lingering showers into early tomorrow morning. So this is the area really to watch, I think, Mike, going forward. And tonight, it's going to be those Gulf Coast states, Mississippi, Alabama, into Florida for the heaviest and strongest of thunderstorms and floods.
All right, Jackie, thank you. Now, we talked earlier this evening on Weather Underground with a Birmingham resident who was out and saw just how high the waters had gotten. He took pictures and video to show you what he saw, and truly turn around, don't drown mattered.
I was driving through and I saw this parking lot with people still trying to drive through, and their cars, literally submerged in water. And made sure that there was nobody there, in the cars or anything like that. Most people had already made their way out. But I thought we were able to get a little bit of video there in that little small town. And it's just, you see the rivers and streams and everything just flowing right over the road.
All right, so how susceptible will we be through the evening and overnight? Bringing back in Dr. Knabb. Dr. Knabb, all this is going to move into Georgia, which was hard hit yesterday. What are your thoughts there?
I think we could be unpleasantly surprised in a few low spots in the metro Atlanta area, some part of northern Georgia. And that video you just saw of them looking down a road and there's water covering the road, imagine that being at night. And it's just one spot somewhere in northern Georgia. Someone could get into trouble tonight. And that's why we've got a flash flood warning for Metro Atlanta. It's not just about Alabama tonight, and we've got quite a ways to go before the rain ends in Atlanta. And I know when that flash flood warning went up earlier this afternoon, right after that, we caught a break for a little while with the heaviest rain not happening in that area. So you can see how Atlanta has not racked up anywhere near the totals that Metro Birmingham and surrounding areas have experienced. But over the last couple of days, it has come down pretty hard here in northern Georgia, so that leaves us very vulnerable to any additional rainfall. So here's that flash flood warning that has been extended until 10 p.m. Eastern time, so it'll be dark during this warning period. That ramps up the danger big time, and the heavier rain is starting to move its way in. So that's why these inch or 2 inch per hour rain rates are going to move into the area. That's when we could run into trouble. Now, if you fast forward here, here's 9 Eastern, here's 10 Eastern, we could have a band of really heavy rain coming through Atlanta. So please turn around, don't drown, let this system go through, stay home, and tomorrow will be a much better day.
My husband and I have never eaten healthier.
Jingles doesn't care. I logged 10,000 steps today. Jingles doesn't care.
I get as much